In this video, we will discuss the array implementation of the queues. So let's open the project. Uh, queue as arrays. First class is queueADT that we have discussed already. Then we have queue as arrays. So we will discuss this class in this video. You can see that queue type is basically inheriting from the queueADT, and it will implement all the functions defined by the queueADT class. So first of all, let us discuss its private members. It has max queue size. Whenever we implement stacks or queues as arrays, we must define its maximum size, because we have to define a maximum size for the arrays. Alright, then we have a count variable that will store the number of elements in the queue. Then we have queue front till this variable will point to the first element of the queue. Queue rear, this element will point to the last element of the queue. And type list, this is basically a pointer variable of generic type. It means that we will use this pointer variable to initialize an array. Alright, so now let us discuss the functions implementations. First of all we will discuss the constructor of the class, and we will check all these functions later. Add queue, delete queue, and this is our constructor. You can see here we will receive size of the queue, and we will first check that its value is less than or greater than 0. In this case, we will show an appropriate message to the user, and we will make a queue of 100. Otherwise, if user supplies the correct value, then we will make a queue size up to the value given by the user. And then here we have created the array as of size as specified by the user. For example, user says I need a queue of 50 size, so we will create an array of 50 here, and we initialize the front variable to 0, and we have initialized the queue rear variable to size minus 1. So if the size mentioned by the user is 50, then value of front will be 0 and value of rear will be 49, and we have initialized the counter variable to 0. Okay, then we have destructor, and we have deleted all the elements in the destructor. Then we have assignment operator overridden, and in this it said that write the definition on your own. We can get the idea of this function from the arrays implementation of stacks, and we can write that function here. And this is basically a copy constructor that is accepting a object of another object of queue class, and it says it write the definition on your own. We can get the idea from arrays implementation of stacks videos. Okay, then let us discuss the remaining functions. First of all is empty queue. It simply checks the value of count. And then we have is full queue. It simply compares the value of count to the maximum queue size. And then we have initialize queue. It simply what it does, it simply assigns 0 to front, and for example size is 50, then it assigns 49 to rear and count 0. And then we have front. It returns the value of front element. And then we have back. It returns the value of rear element. And then we have add queue. This is the most important function, add queue. How we are adding an element to the queue. As we know that we can add a new element in the queue only from one side, and that side is known as rear side. So this function will receive a new element First of all, it will check the queue is not full. If it is not full, then what? This is the main statement here. It will increment the value of rear variable. For example, initially the value of rear was, if the maximum size is suppose 50, then the initial value when no element was present in the queue, the initial value of rear was 49. So when 49 in added with 1, it becomes 50, and 50 remainder 50 will become 0. So the value of rear will be 0 when first element was put onto the queue. And when another element is put onto the queue, second element, then its value will be 0 plus 1 1, and 1 remainder 50 will be 1. So the value of rear will be 1 for the second node. When the third element will be inserted, the value of rear will be 1 plus 1 2, remainder 50 will be 2. So in this case the value of rear will be incremented, and here we are incrementing the count variable, and we are putting the new element onto the rear position of the array. So this is basically add queue function. Then we have delete queue function. As we know that we can delete element from only one side of the queue, and that is front side. It is simply first of all checking the queue is not empty, then it is decrementing the counter variable, and then it is incrementing the front variable, just like in the rear side. So we know that only front variable will be affected in the delete queue operation. So this is basically the class array implementation of queues, and here is our main function in which we have added and deleted some elements in the queue. And let us try to run the project, build and run, and it says queues elements are these 5 9 16 4 2. And let us try to understand this main function file. We have created a new queue, then we have initialized queue, then we have two variables x and y, and we have added values to queue 4 and 5. Then we have got front element and put it into the x. Then we have delete queue operation, then we have add queue x plus 5, so on. We are just checking our functions, and then we have print out all the elements of the queues and deleting to the queues. So at the end of this function, all the elements will be deleted from the queue.